Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Chrysler Center on the campus of Stephen M. Ross Athletic Campus in beautiful Ann Arbor, Michigan. My name is Tom Wyride. I'm the Men's Basketball Communications Director at the University of Michigan, and it is my honor to help start this wonderful day off today with the introduction of Juwan Howard as our new head coach. Before we begin, we want to appreciate and say thanks to all the media for coming today, for all of our media partners helping us, and for all the fans watching worldwide on mgoblue.com and the Big Ten Network. And without further ado, not going to take any more of your time, I'd like to introduce the Donald R. Shepard, Director of Athletics, Ward Manuel.
Welcome. This is a great day for the University of Michigan, for our basketball program. And I want to thank you all for being here. Thank everybody who's watching. And I hope you enjoy this day as much as I will. I want to thank several people, and I want to start by thanking all of the regents for their leadership. Especially, we have two regents with us today, Regent White sitting over here, and Regent Paul Brown sitting right there as well. I want to thank President Slissel. He's out of town, but he had about 30-minute conversation last week with Juwan that he characterized as a conversation that he really enjoyed. And so he said to make sure that you knew he looked forward to sitting down with you soon when he gets back in town. I want to thank all the executive officers who are here. They're my colleagues, a great group of campus leaders. And also appreciate members of the ABIA who are present here today. My thanks to all of our donors, and I do mean all of them, with special thanks to a few. Stephen Ross, Nate Forbes, who's here today, Don Graham, Al Glick, who's here today. But certainly, last but certainly not least, I want to thank David and Meredith Kaplan, who have named the men's basketball position and are very generous supporters of not only athletics but men's basketball, and they look forward to meeting Juwan very soon. I want to thank several of my head coaches. Juwan, you may meet them today, but you'll see that you have great head coach colleagues that are here. Jim Harbaugh is here. They're all sitting back over here. Carol Hutchins, Mel Pearson, Jen Klein, Adam Steinberg, James Henry, Mark Rosen, Beth Plocky, and Sean Burnett are all here today to support you and welcome you to the family. So please give them all a round of applause. I want to thank Doug Ganaki, who was with me every step of the way. I think he got a little tired of me in the end, but that's what happens. You know, he and I were spending a lot of time together for pretty close to about 9-10 days. He's been with me for 20 years. Trust him implicitly. He was asking Juwan questions directly and back and forth. I think he was talking to you about some of your dance moves at one point. But I want to thank him and acknowledge him publicly. And Greg Harden, who's the sports administrator for men's basketball, for his support and counsel along the way. Len Pernin and Gene DiFilippo from Turnkey for their tremendous assistance. I think Len is here today and was going to try to stop by. I want to thank all the basketball alums, and I see several of them that I actually talked to that are here in the crowd. I see Terry and Tim and Jimmy. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, and believe me, they share their thoughts about what I need to do, even when I don't ask, when I see them around. I want to welcome Janine, Jace, and Jet, and all of the Howard family here. For those of you who haven't been around, I know probably some of y'all were around when he played, but for those of you who are new, welcome to the University of Michigan family. It's so great to have you guys here with us. Tell a little side story that convinced me the man had good decision making. I said to him, I said, you know, Janine, is she gonna move from Miami and all? It was a beautiful day, not a cloud in the sky. So I set him with his back to the beach in the water so he couldn't see it. I didn't want him thinking about what he might be leaving if he left. And I said to him, I said, is Janine ready to do this? And he looked at me and said, if she wasn't, I wouldn't be here. And that told me a lot about him and his decision making, because I have one in Chrisland who is the same way. So I want to start the process of talking about this search a little bit and Juwan by thanking John Beilein for his 12 years of service to the University of Michigan, the success his teams produced, and him and his family for their unwavering love and support of this team, this department, in this university. He will always remain a friend, and I wish him much continued success in everything that he's doing. Yeah, please. I especially want to thank the student athletes, the coaches, and all the men's basketball staff for your success this past year and the years prior, and for sticking together as this process unfolded. Please give them a round of applause. I have been fortunate during my past 3 years as AD to have time to observe and gain a full understanding of the state of our men's basketball program, and it is strong. There were a majority of factors that are considered in the search, some of which I talked about prior to the search beginning, but they included high integrity and great character, coaching experience, someone who could teach the game, a proven winner, etc. We worked through an analysis of many coaches, and many excellent individuals showed interest. We looked at many, broad scope. I stand here today with my choice. Coach Howard has a great passion for our university and for the sport of basketball. He resonates with our universities, our students, our donors, alums, and fans. He will take great pride in promoting the community and the academic and athletic success of our student athletes. His personality and lifetime success, lifetime, since a child, success in basketball will allow him to connect already, as I witnessed this morning, to our student athletes, recruits, and their families. Coach Howard takes great pride in development of players on and off the court. Many people don't understand how important and how much teaching occurs in the NBA, where he has a tremendous track record of success. My conversation with Eric Spoelstra was insightful to how well he understood the X's and O's. Eric was effusive about Juwan's ability as a coach. Coach Howard will surround himself with great coaches and support staff. They will work hard to continue the success of the men's basketball program. I am very confident that he'll make Michigan fans, alumni, faculty, staff, and students very proud. Ladies and gentlemen, our new David and Meredith Kaplan head men's basketball coach for the University of Michigan Wolverines. Please welcome Juwan Howard. So we brought the jersey back. This is for you. Congratulations, man. Thank you.
Wow. It's tears of joy. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I said I wasn't gonna cry. Guess that never happens when you're excited about something that's so special to you, that means so much. Last time I had a press conference in this building was 1994. I declared that I was going to go to the NBA. Felt like I was letting down my teammates because I didn't do what I came here to do. And that was to bring a championship to this university. A university that I care so much about. I guess you can see that now, huh? Now let's fast forward 25 years later. I'm back. I'm back to help continue this Michigan tradition. I'm back to help continue this beautiful culture that has been instilled here before me and whenever that day comes, after me. My grandmother, she's so proud right now. My best friend, Lamont Juice Carter, many of you know, who's well connected and I have a close relationship with. He's so proud right now. Never thought that this day would ever come, but more importantly, I'm overjoyed for this new opportunity. You know, this is the second biggest accomplishment in life for me, to be the head basketball coach at the University of Michigan. Now I know some of you are saying like, okay, well, what was number one? Getting a degree from the University of Michigan. That was my number one accomplishment in life thus far. That degree meant so much to me as a man, as a leader, as a father. It doesn't stop. Now it's my goal to help lead a beautiful group that's sitting back there, to teach them the values of how important, how privileged they are, how special they are to be a part of the Michigan tradition. That just feels so good to say that, the University of Michigan. Before I even go any further, all this wouldn't have been possible. And I have to thank some people that helped make this possible. President Mark, who is not here today, thank you. Ward Manuel, thank you. Doug, thank you, sir. There you go. My wife, Janine, you giving me your blessings to pursue my dream job. Thank you. My kids, my boys that are here, my family members who are not here, thank you guys for supporting me. I also want to thank my college teammates. Jimmy is here, Jimmy King. He's been a big inspiration, big reason why I'm sitting here today. Jimmy and I were dorm mates. We sat there and talked. I think I recruited you, right? told Jimmy, I'm coming, you better come with me. So he listened. That's how the story went. Chris, Jalen, Jimmy and Ray, everyone always talk about how special those guys were. But there were other guys that I must say that had a huge impact on my success here at University of Michigan. Chris Bossert, Chip Armour, Chris Setter, Rob Pelinka, Freddie Hunter, Bobby Taylor, Maktar Njai, Michael Talley, Dugan Fife, Leon Derricks, and yes, many more. Those guys need to be recognized for everything that they have done contributing to why I am here today. Thank you, fellas. So I'd like to end by saying I'm sorry, I apologize for my emotions. You got the best of me, but hopefully you know, after we leave here today, that I'm all in, a Michigan man. Go Blue. Yes, sir.
Jawan, a two-part question, if you could allow me. Number one, when you walked off this court for the last time, did you ever envision that you would come back someday to be on this court again as the coach? And as a second part, we see what Michigan means to you. Explain to us why Michigan means so much to you.
Well, to answer your first part of your question, last time I walked off the Chrysler Arena court, and at the time it was called Chrysler Arena, now it's called Chrysler Center. I never looked back and thought I would ever be the head basketball coach of University of Michigan. Honestly, I didn't like coaching. I didn't want to be a coach, but I always was a coach on the floor. And so the passion that I have for this game, playing 19 years in the NBA, I grew to embrace teaching. Because I've always wanted, A, to be humbled by learning, but most importantly, to try to help inspire others. So my 17th year at the NBA, I started to get the itch. You know what? Coaching is my calling. The relationships that I built in the NBA, the people that I've impacted, those who impacted me, those who inspired me, said that, you know what? You'll be a great coach someday. And I listened. Now I come back to coach my alma mater, that I'm so proud to have an opportunity to embrace this moment and lead some young men, not just on the court, but off the court. It's a special day. It's a special day for me and my family, and I'm so proud.
I will not forget when you used to bellow, "We're going to shock the world." And I'm wondering, 29 years later, whatever it is, you were a candidate for NBA jobs. Do you think your hire here outside of the Michigan Circle shocks the world at all?
Tell you this, I'm very humbled by a lot of NBA teams recognize the hard work I put in for the 6 years of coaching with the Miami Heat. When I get into something, I'm all in. I try to learn, try to grow with it, and I try to give it my best and my all. I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that are doubting the fact that I'm a first-time head coach. Well, you got to start somewhere, don't you? And there are going to be some moments where you're not going to always get it right. Jim will tell you, you're going to make mistakes. It's a process. But I have that growth mindset that I always look to try to find the answer to help grow.
Juwan, as people watch your Michigan teams, what do you want them to see? What are you going to want them to be known for?
A group that fight together. It's all about team. Well-connected group that's inspired by their play, a group that enjoys each other's success, a group that is all about family. And brotherhood is everything with me.
Juwan, been a lot of rumblings about your staff. When do you hope to have a staff in place, and have you made any decisions on that yet?
I haven't made decisions on my staff yet. I've been talking. We're doing a lot of communication about, who are those candidates. At this moment, I'm not ready to answer that question, but I'm working hard to make sure I get the right staff in place to help lead those young men back there. Because it's all about them. It's not about me anymore. I want to be the best coach. I want to have the best, hardest working staff to give them all the resources that they need, that they can be proud of.
Coach, what were some things you talked about with Ward during your interview with him? And what was that conversation like, especially down in Miami, understanding that you'd be coming back to Ann Arbor?
Well, there were no promises made. Ward and I just talked about Michigan. We also communicated about, why Michigan. But more importantly, I got a chance to get to know him as a man because I heard a lot of great things about Ward. There are people that I did my homework on Ward. I'm sure he did his homework on me. But in order for this to all happen, we have to build a relationship. And he's my boss. But most importantly, I know Ward is well experienced. He's a Michigan man like myself, and we're looking forward to hit the ground running.
Juwan, when last time you were here, Michigan owned the state, so to speak, and I'm wondering where your priorities are in terms of that rivalry with Michigan State that's changed over the years, and also your recruiting footprint, what you see is your priority there.
We got to give Coach Izzo a lot of credit. This program has been doing a fantastic job over the years. I have a lot of respect for Coach Izzo. Coach Izzo sent me a nice text congratulating me. I know that Coach Izzo is extremely competitive, just like myself. I'm looking forward to having a chance to our team line up against his team, and hey, let's battle. From a recruiting aspect, I know there's a lot of special talent located here in the state. Michigan have a lot of great talented basketball players on the high school level. I'm looking forward to going out there and recruiting and seeing what we can do to help continue what Coach Beeline and his staff has done throughout the years.
Juwan, over the last week or so, how have you attempted to familiarize yourself with the team you're inheriting?
Well, we all communicated by phone when I first got the job. I wanted to make sure that I talked to the coaching staff first, and then I called the players. I understand the players have experienced a lot these last couple of weeks, and when you have a coach that leaves and you have a new coach coming in, there are a lot of emotions that's happening right now, and that's understood why those emotions are happening at this moment. Some players are more concerned with their future, and also want to get to understand the coach and his vision. We had good communications on the phone. Good conversations on the phone, and we just had a great meeting earlier. But I'm happy that I know that I have those guys back there are going to be in the trenches with me.
Juwan, what do you think will be, what specific things do you think will present the largest learning curve for you on shifting back to college basketball, and what's the best piece of advice, if anything, that you have kind of put in your back pocket so far?
Well, recruiting is going to be the challenge because I have to first get to understand all the rules, and I want to continue to make sure that this culture does not take a step back. I will learn and get into that rule book of the NCAA rules as far as what you are allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. that's going to be one of the biggest challenges. And to my understanding, there are a lot of rules out there.
Juwan, how would you describe your coaching philosophy?
Well, it still remains to be seen, fellas, right? But I can tell you this. One thing about me, I'm humble, and I don't have all the answers. We're going to try to figure out solutions together. My staff, the players will be active participants in finding the solutions. We will create this identity together, and we will have fun doing it too, fellas.
Juwan, right here in front, you mentioned that outside there might be some people doubting with your lack of experience coming in. Why do you think you're ready to lead a college program?
I came from a culture, the Miami Heat culture, which is a championship caliber culture, that I've sat there, learned from a guy by the name of Pat Riley. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Eric Spoelstra. 3 championships, 2 championships that I was involved with, 4 straight 4 NBA straight championships. We only won 2, lost 2. But last year I was an assistant coach, sitting in that room, helping the game plan, being like a sponge, learning, developing that growth mindset, preparing myself for a day like this. Now, I get the keys. Now I'll come back to a place that I call home. And it's going to be a challenge. I will be questioned. There will be doubts. There will be a lot of outside voices. But one thing I'm always going to fall back on and lean on that person night in and night out, that man up above. Trust. Having that trust and belief in myself and my staff, being one of the hardest working staffs in college basketball, that we will, when that decision is made, it's made as a group. Not my decision, their decision, but I will make the final decision.
John, given the length of that rule book and all those other things you have to learn here as you get back into college, are you taking that into consideration and thinking of hiring somebody on staff who's been in those shoes before and has that experience that can help you through some of that?
That's one thing I'm exploring. One thing about me, I strategically sit down. My wife will tell you, I do a lot of thinking. Sometimes she asks me, are you here when you're talking to me? Your brain is always working. But yes, I am. I'm listening to you, sweetie. But I thought this thing thoroughly through, and I think I'm going to have the right staff moving forward that team back there will be proud of.
Juwan, when you look up and don't see the 92, 93 Final Four banners, what thoughts do you have, and have you or will you lobby to get them put back up?
I knew that question was coming. You know, I look up there, I see those beautiful banners, and I'm like, wow, Michigan has a rich tradition. Done a lot of great special things in this building. 92, 93, fun time. Jimmy can attest to this. Worked extremely hard to make it all possible. Sacrificed a lot. Been through a ton of adversity. Earned every minute of it. That is something on the table that we as a staff, myself, Ward, Mark, will definitely revisit. When, I don't know, can't make any promises, but that's all I can say at this moment.
Coach Andrew Kahn, Ann Arbor News, MLive.com. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
You have 3 open scholarships for this coming season. It's, the end of May. How are you approaching that?
Well, I had to go back and start recruiting again, quickly. One guy, Cole Badgerma, who I got a chance to talk to, meet, on the phone, communicate with his parents, sent my bio, got the chance to understand them as a family, and I know they were more concerned with Cole's future. Cole was committed to the University of Michigan, thinking that Coach Beilein was going to be his head coach. Now, Cole has recommitted, and he will be signing his letter of intent soon to attend the University of Michigan.
Your passion for your school is obvious, but your experience in coaching has been in the NBA, and there aren't all those rules. Why is this a better job for you than one that might come in the NBA real quickly?
Oh, what's the last part? I'm sorry.
Why is this a better job for you than one that might eventually come in the NBA?
I don't look back, I look forward. And right now I am a University of Michigan head basketball coach, and I'm committed to this program. This program, as you saw earlier, with the tears, sweating inside of my shirt, I love this place.
Hey, congratulations, Coach Corey Woods, Michigan
Thank
Chronicle.
you.
Over the past couple of weeks through various media, Jalen, Chris, and Jimmy, they've all talked about the lack of All-Americans that have come to the university over the past couple of years. What will you do differently on recruiting to bring those All-Americans to Michigan?
Well, I'm all eyes, I'm all ears to talent. I haven't just pinpointed exactly like I'm going after 5-star, one and done, so I'm going to recruit 3-star kids. As a staff, we will meet, we will figure out what is the best solution moving forward to give us the best chance to win.
When John moved on from here to Cleveland, did you know immediately that you were going to pursue this, or what was kind of your first thought on the job being available?
Well, I woke up on Monday morning, and it had to be about 6:45 a.m. Like some, picked up my cell phone first, and I looked, and I'm like, my phone, I had like 20-something text messages. And Coach Beilein decided to move on and accept the job with Cleveland Cavaliers. At that time, I was preparing that weekend and leading up to the week to go and interview for the Minnesota Timberwolves head coaching position. I laid back on my pillow and I said, Coach Beilein just left Michigan. I've always been asked by friends and also by family, would I ever coach college basketball? My answer has always been, there's only one job, there's only one school that I would look back and pursue on a collegiate level, and that's the University of Michigan. So it was unfair at the moment that at the time, I'm preparing for a Minnesota Timberwolves interview, and in the back of my mind, all I kept thinking about was Michigan, Michigan, Michigan. And I'm not afraid to be honest. The general manager / president of the Minnesota Timberwolves, I know he's out there listening, and I have a ton of respect for him. He understood why I chose Michigan. After they made me an offer, they didn't give me the head coaching position offer, but they offered the associate head coaching position. I said, you know what? Out of respect to you, I appreciate, but my heart is with Michigan. and will always be that way. My kids will tell you. But just a quick story. Michigan and Ohio State football rivalry. On Saturdays, when it's time to watch that game at 12 noon Eastern time, sit there on the couch, I put on my Michigan football jersey, my wife put on her Michigan sweatshirt, Jason, Jet, they put on their Michigan football jerseys, and we had a dog that passed away. He wears the Michigan jersey. And his name is Blue, too. He's a bulldog, and he's not with us anymore, but we're all in. We're Michigan family.
Coach, when you were, Jimmy said that you recruited him and the rest of that team. What do you plan on? What did you tell them when you were getting your fellow teammates, and how do you plan on translating that to recruiting now?
Brotherhood is big with me, and that's something that the relationship that we've built over the years, that will never leave us. They are family. And I know how supportive Jimmy, Chris, Jalen, Ray, and do you want me to name the other teammates? But I know how supportive they all will be in helping to continue this Michigan winning tradition on and off the floor. Not only we are proud of our players and what they provide on the court, but in the classroom, it's just as important. I believe in a student athlete. I encourage our kids to hit the books hard in the classroom. When they leave this university, to walk away with that degree, because that degree coming from the University of Michigan means a lot. It's a prestigious school with a lot of pride, and a lot of love and a lot of care. So at the end of the day, we all a family. Go Blue.
Hey, man, listen, don't worry about it. Hey, before the questions start, let me just assure you, Juwan, see, watch over here when I say that. You see that group of coaches sitting back over there? Some of them have 30-plus years of experience, and they still get questioned everything they do. So don't you worry about it. The questions are going to come in your first game and in your 1,000th game. They're going to come, and but you have a great group of colleagues to lean on. So thank you very much. I think before y'all ask a question, you see why. It was, for me, a easy choice to make to select Juwan. You see why I talk about his love for Michigan, his love for these student athletes and to help them. So I'm gonna get criticized too, Juwan. I know he's left, I know he's right over there. I'll get criticized too, I'm already criticized. I read the risk and the gamble, and there's a whole bunch of adjectives like that that have already been used, and that's fine. But if I'm gonna take a risk with somebody, y'all see why I took the risk and the gamble and all the things y'all say about what could possibly happen with Juwan Howard. So questions from there. Thanks, I appreciate it. Questions? Great, thank you. Oh, sorry.
Ward, as you take this risk and gamble, as you said.
Y'all wrote that. I'm just saying, it wasn't my words. I'm just throwing them back at you.
I know. What was the biggest thing you had to get past? Obviously, you knew Juwan Howard wanted to be here. You knew he had love for the university. What did you have to get past to convince you that he could lead the program?
I just had to sit and talk to him about his plan. And it was, for me, complete in the sense of, look, I told him, I asked him about his offensive philosophy and his defensive philosophy. I asked Jim sometime about that. I asked Hutch about that sometime. Mel talks to me about, Man, listen, I can't coach. We talked about that. But I don't understand all the, pick and rolls and the movement and the basket and all the stuff the guys back there learn every day on this court. But what I do know is people. And what I wanted to hear is what I heard. I care about them as people first. I want them to be great students and great athletes. He's competitive. He wants to win because they want to win. He had a plan and he thought about what he would like his staff to look like. He's still working through that to solidify it. He talked about his family, which is also important. Look, we hire an individual, but people bring a family, right? And so they have to be committed and want to be a part of this and supportive and those kind of things. And so we talked about a lot of different stuff, most of which didn't include the X's and O's on this court. I knew he knew him. I knew he had that particular piece in him, but I wanted to just hear from him, and as he said, get to know each other as men, as people. Him talking about how he envisions his head coach responsibilities and his plan. And for me, at the end of the day, and I half joke about the gamble and the risk and all the stuff you all wrote. It wasn't something I thought of that way. It wasn't in my mind, it wasn't a risk I'm taking. It was that I was bringing a great person and somebody who I thought will be a great head coach on day one here. He doesn't have the experience, but let you check. I'm gonna give credit to Brendan. In the last 2 years, folks, 110 schools have changed basketball coaches. A lot of those people who changed had great deals of experience. Let him evolve, let him develop into a head coach of his own. That's what I'm gonna do. Support him, answer questions, put people around him, and let him evolve. All these things about, well, he hasn't coached a game, and what's Ward doing? And, oh my God, he's taking a risk and a gamble and all these different things. I'm a gamble with people who love this place the way he does. That gets emotional when he looks at his family and he talks to those kids. I'm gonna take that risk. I'm gonna take that challenge. Put it on me. Let him evolve. I talked about his great colleagues because those are the people who one day, I remember talking to Hutch, this is years ago. Hutch started right from being an assistant, I think for a year. Was it a year or 2 years? 2. Started part-time, she worked as an administrative assistant. She's the greatest coach in the history of softball. Jim started part-time with his daddy in the off-season. In other words, folks, we all have a place to start. He started 6 years ago under two of the best minds in basketball, in Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra. He's played for some of the greatest coaches in NBA history. He played for Steve Fisher here, who's a national championship coach. I know it's long-winded, but I was waiting for that question, Wojo. I was waiting for it because, for me, I'll take it. But let him evolve, because he will, in my opinion, evolve into a great coach, a great head coach, because he's already a great man, as y'all saw.
Ward, right here.
Oh, sorry, thanks.
Timing of this wasn't ideal. How much did the timing constrain the search? And then to add on maybe to that, how long did it take after you first started to talk to Juwan? Did you convince yourself that this is the guy you want to make the move with?
Timing is what it is, Nick. in life. I thought a lot about timing. Timing at any point in time brings pros and cons. And I don't know if it'll look different. The pool may have looked different. I'm not sure the outcome would have looked different. I think the timing helped in this way. I think, by the time this started, the Miami Heat season was over. So I didn't have to worry about waiting until at the end of the season that I may have had to do in April and those kind of things. But look, man, I can lament the timing of many things. But as Juwan said, it's about moving forward. And so for me, timing wasn't ideal because, the carousel moves mid-March to mid-April in college basketball, just like in December and January, the football and, spring sports move in May. I mean, so you have these different wheels that start turning of coaching changes. But for me, timing was what it was, and the outcome is great.